In 1981, there was a murder so shocking that it changed the entertainment world forever, yet the killer was never brought to justice. Now, almost 40 years later, we're reopening the case, reviewing old leads as well as new evidence, to try and make sense of a killing which gave rise to a massacre. The who, what, why, and how of when video killed the radio star. Welcome to the Radio Star Murders.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Radio Star Murders. This is a show that we're going to be breaking down music videos. Did they augment the original audio? We're going to figure that out. My name is Wes. I'm joined by Clay as always. Clay, this day, we're going to be talking about the Prodigy.
Day of our Lord.
The day of our Lord, 1457 AD.
2019 AD.
We're going to be talking about the Prodigy, Smack My Bitch Up, which is my choice this time. So I'll describe what this is, and then we're going to get into it. We'll talk about the song, and we're going to talk about the video, and then we're going to talk about whether or not the video actually works for the song. So this is the synopsis of this one is, my least favorite person on earth goes out for a rollicking good time filled with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And then at the end, everyone's gender expectations are sort of blown out of the sky, and you realize that you are not actually as woke as you thought you were. We're talking about the Prodigy, Smack My Bitch Up, which... Clay, we've been trying to figure out how to do this show, like what the point of the show is, and I think we kind of stumbled onto it. It's not like it wasn't obvious from the start, but it's whether or not video killed the radio star. And what we take that to mean is that did the video for this song augment the song, or is it like a superfluous problem that's been added to it? And so when we discover...
Because, there's plenty of songs that are terrible, but the bands ended up becoming huge because their video was so iconic or something like that.
Right, exactly. And then there's a lot of music videos which are just, it's a great song, and the video is just the band sort of playing stuff, lip syncing to the video. And so we're going to try to figure out how you could actually make a good music video and whether or not it augments it. Once we made this revelation, this was my go-to video because I think this is like the pinnacle of that point for me. So this is like my sort of calibration point where I'm going to figure out where the song stands and then where the video ends up. So the song, there was a brief period in like 1997 to 99 or something where everyone seemed to think that like techno was the way of the future. Like a lot of techno bands came out at that time, and Prodigy was one of them. And
they sure were.
They sure were. And there was like this whole thing was like there were a lot of like music pieces about like rock and roll is dead because these synth bands have sort of come along and they're just too good to be denied. It faded out. It burnt out so quickly. But these songs, the Prodigy sticks out in my mind as like the main band from that era. Do you remember anything about them or this sort of era in music history?
I only kind of grazed techno. I remember Prodigy, specifically Firestarter, more than anything else. I never liked techno. I very much do not like. Arguably, I still don't. I do now like a lot of. I like the retro synth stuff that a lot of people have been doing, but I really turn off to that stuff when it falls too far into the techno category. Yeah. I don't know what it is about it that I don't really care for. But I can say that this video does augment the song for me because I would not ever listen to this in any other format than as the backtracking for a video. Yeah,
see, so what's funny is that I do like some, I guess I don't really know techno, and I'm sure that there's like techno has a metal-esque breakdown where there's like 50 billion different genres within the electronic music scene that I just am glazing over because I don't really care about it. But I do like, I would recommend everyone listen to, the band is called Air, and they have an album called Moon Safari, which is probably one of my favorite sort of electronic duo music albums to listen to. It's a little bit more musical and like groovy. And Prodigy to me seems like techno that you would just drink and do a lot of coke and then fight people. Like every song is that kind of, it's that like really aggressive pounding shit. And it's fist pumping. I guess I can't deny that. It's like you sort of get into it. And if this came on at like a sporting event or something, I think that you'd probably get into it a lot more. But it's really, repetitive, really simple. The only lyrics are change my pitch up, smack my bitch up across the entire thing. It doesn't really mean anything. And it just exists as sort of a music point. But I think that's as pretty much as the song, because I share the opinion that the song is not very good. I listened to it a couple times without the video, and it's not really something that I'd enjoy listening to. But the video is pretty spectacular. So what would you think of the video?
The only time I enjoy techno is in the opening scene of Blade.
Sure.
During the blood rave,
or the opening of the Matrix sequel, where they all want to dance to some techno. Yep.
Yeah. I think techno hit its point when it got its own Saturday Night Fever movie in the form of the Matrix trilogy.
Yeah,
it kind of faded off after that. Yeah, this is a really interesting video because up until now, all of the songs we've been all of the songs, all 2 other songs we've done have had some sort of story to them that the video was somehow either supporting, enhancing, or flipping on its ear, sort of. Mm-hmm. And this does not have that. There's no story in the song. The song is the video has to work extra hard to make the song engaging, I think.
Yes. Because
there's nothing lyrically to draw you in. You're not visually representing, I mean, maybe this is an arguable point, but you're not visually representing a story that's being told through the music. So the video has to create the story, and the music then becomes basically soundtrack to the video.
Yes. It's like a score almost, like they've scored this video.
That's how I was thinking about it. It's like, I mean this in the best way possible. This feels like a college video art project.
A very good one, I'd say.
Yes, a very good one, yeah. But it has that sort of thing where it's like they needed a song for the backing of this video. They had a unique idea for a video or a short film, and they needed a song that the best I can say, I would say the song definitely supports the attitude of the video.
Yes.
And like the aggressiveness of it, and
and the scene that everything takes place. This is the kind of music that would be playing in the location that this video is taking place in.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say if you wanted to say what story are they getting from the music and telling visually, I would say it's that. I would say it's tone, its intensity, its aggressiveness, that the place where the music would come from or fit in. I think it's that.
Yeah, I think that I mentioned before when I was in college and I took film class and did film, I was always the sort of the film student thing that you're looking at is whenever I had to come up with ideas, I was always like, I really like this song. I should make some sort of like little video off of the song. So it's not like I came up with the story first. It's more that I had the soundtrack in mind, and I was like, I'm going to make a great little movie based on these songs that I really like and write. I
definitely did that in my college video class as well. I did a short film based on the Rainbow song "Jealous Lover." I thought it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that this is a pretty good version. I remember when this came out, it was like scandalous on MTV. Like they had to show it after midnight for a while. Kurt Loder was like intoning very seriously about how the degradation of youth was falling apart and stuff like that. It is something that's hard to find on YouTube. You found a version, but it does have nudity in it and a lot of drugs and alcohol and violence. I think it's really, I remember when I watched it, it was kind of a revelation. Now I don't know, maybe it's too cliche or sort of known. I don't know if this video is well known, but I really love the twist at the end, which is after you've been watching this hard partying, violent person go through their day where they're just drinking and sort of sexually assaulting women and going like hitting people with chairs on the dance floor. It's revealed that the point of view that you've been looking through is actually a woman at the end.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. It's not, I don't think it's really, it's not intentionally saying anything, but it is just kind of, I remember the first time I watched it, I was blown away that it was a woman, and it really does just sort of show you how you do assign, rightly or wrongly, you do assign sort of gender roles to things. Like you can't imagine a woman doing anything like this. And it's, I don't know whether or not that's like scientifically going to bear out or anything, but it's a cool little twist at the end of the video. I think it does a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, it kind of, it's kind of mutually sexist, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In like, depending on how you want to look at it, you can call somebody out for thinking that oh, only men can do this, or you could call somebody out for saying, oh, well, this is a woman. You know what I mean? Like you could kind of come at it from both sides and be, if you wanted to find something to be, pissed off about.
Yeah, and
but it is. I mean, it's like the only way you can end the video, right? Like, what's the other option? You've got to pay off this thing somehow. And if you don't pay it off in an interesting way, it's just literally an awful person doing awful things for 4 minutes.
Right.
Which it still is. I mean, it's not any less awful because it turns out to be a woman. It's just like what's the hook? I mean, unless it turns out to be like a space alien or something.
Well, I think you could just have it be sort of this like pointlessly violent life, which would match up with the song. Sort of like, I don't know where the song came from, because it sounds to me like it's just kind of a thing, like whoever the producer came up with like this little silly hook and then was like, I'll just put a song around this. Like, it doesn't make any sense or anything, but I think you could just do the sheer violence and the outrageousness of it, and this guy sort of gets away with everything maybe. But I think it does a good job of being both grotesque and like super violent and kind of funny. Like, I laugh when he hits the guy on the dance floor with the chair and it explodes. Yeah. It's funny in that way. And it is
definitely over the top. Like, their tongue is in their cheek quite a bit.
Yeah, and I just like I think it has a whole really great aesthetic, like how filthy their apartment is at the start. Like, they're purely just this person who goes out and parties like this. And I don't know if the band or whatever is really savvy enough to be saying something about the people who listen to their kind of dance music. Like, is this what they think of their fans? But I think
it just might be a safe assumption that this person is not exactly living in the best place in their life.
Right. They're floundering in their late 20s. It seems like to me. That's the kind of lifestyle here where you don't own a lot of stuff. You have a pink bed sheet, you have a bottle of whiskey, and you drink it, and you go out at night, and that's all you do. It reminds. Have you ever seen Irreversible, the French film?
I haven't. Okay, I've heard a lot about it, but I have not. I have not decided to take that plunge.
Yeah, it's pretty horrible. But this is like a PG version of that, I think.
Yeah,
it's the same inspiration.
I also wonder how many people view this as like a positive night. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think there's plenty of you and I. Yeah, you and I are old men now.
Right. At least physically,
who can recognize the fact that this is not maybe the best way to spend your time.
Yeah.
And you are probably a terrible person if you do. But I think there's plenty of people at the time who were of the age of living in this, version of life or whatever, who may find this to be a positive and be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to spend my night doing this. Like the people who look at Scarface as like a uplifting film.
Yes, a tale of the underdog taking what's his at the very end. I'd agree.
I'm convinced most of those people have not made it to the end of that movie.
They own the poster. That's good enough. And the poster's
well, it's on TV. It's like 4 hours long when it's on TV. So at a certain point, you got to tap out and be like, I assume he just made his money and then retired.
This is the character in this music video is honestly my worst nightmare. Outside of like someone who's actually murdered people or like molested children or Donald Trump or something, like this is pretty much like the peak badness that you can actually get to. And I think that they I don't know. I think it's kind of a neat little thing. It's definitely the most story-ish of the ones that we've seen. And I think that just in terms, so we can get to the end here, do you think that the video augments the music in this case? I would say that in this case, yes, video did kill the radio star, because this video is really the only reason that I would ever listen to this song.
Oh, I agree. I mean, if you think, at least, especially in the United States, I know Prodigy was a much bigger deal overseas, and I think techno in general was a much bigger deal overseas.
Yes, it seems very European.
Yeah, but the only reason I know who Prodigy is because of their videos. Yeah, like the Firestar. I didn't understand who or what Prodigy was. I just knew that one of the guys had like a reverse mohawk, and that guy was kind of freaky.
Yes,
I didn't know anything else about them. I didn't know if they were a band or if it was just a guy. So yeah, I would say absolutely. They made their worldwide fame based on their videos, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and it's I think that lead singer is emblematic too. He's kind of a mini video in that it's like his look is what draws you into the band with the reverse mohawk. And he had in the Firestarter, he had the American sweater that was kind of an American flag sweater that was in tatters. Doing
and that's
weird
interesting
dancing.
That's interesting because I don't. exactly remember the entirety of that video, but I remember very vividly that part of it.
Yeah.
And that's a very different video than this, where that's a more traditional video where it's just, at least from what I remember, where it's just,
if they played instruments, they would be standing in the sewer playing their instruments as the song is going on.
Instead it's just the guy in front of a camera, like, going crazy singing the song.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is, much more straightforward than this is.
So yeah, that's my take on Prodigy. Maybe don't like the song, but the video is pretty interesting. And I guess the music like this kind of relies on that kind of visual aspect, both on the stage when they're doing their performances and in these music videos that we both seem to remember. So Clay, what are you going to pick for your next video coming up?
Well, you said that this was the most story-filled video we've watched so far. Well, I'm going to take that one step further and show you the polar opposite of what happens when you give music video money to a bunch of film school students, and go back to the video that was really the genesis of this project for me, which is Queen of the Reich by Queensryche. It's not a video that everybody will know, but you won't forget it after you see it.
That's it. We're going to be here in a couple next week, I suppose, when this one comes out. Until then, go listen to the Prodigy, Smack My Bitch Up. I've made a Spotify playlist for all these songs that we're doing.
Oh, cool.
So that'll be a link in the
That's great.
A link in the video description and stuff like that. I can probably make I'll make a YouTube playlist as well, just to have the videos out there. But you can check those out in the video blurb or the description. We'll be back in a week with Queensryche. Until then, have a good one.